For 51 years, the Zodiac's most famous cipher could not be solved. Then, in 2020, 3 private codebreakers finally decoded the 340-symbol message. The FBI independently verified their solution, but the message contained no name. Beginning in 1968, the Zodiac had used letters, symbols, and codes to turn a criminal investigation into a national spectacle. So, if the code was finally solved, why is the man behind it still unknown? To understand why that mattered, we have to return to December 20th, 1968. 2 young people were attacked near Lake Herman Road in Benicia, California. Both died. Investigators had little evidence explaining who was responsible or why they had been chosen. At first, the case appeared isolated. Then, during the early hours of July 5th, 1969, another young couple was attacked near Blue Rock Springs Park in Vallejo. One victim died. The other survived and provided investigators with important information. Shortly afterward, a man contacted police and claimed responsibility for both incidents. But the public still did not know the name Zodiac. On July 31st, 3 California newspapers received letters apparently written by the same person. Each contained one section of a larger cipher. The writer included details intended to prove knowledge of the crimes. He demanded that the coded messages be published and threatened further violence if the newspapers refused. The 3 sections appeared publicly. Together, they contained 408 symbols. Readers began searching those symbols for the identity supposedly hidden inside them. Before the writer gave himself a name, he had already transformed an investigation into a public performance. And the newspapers had become his stage. Professional and amateur codebreakers studied the 408-symbol message. The breakthrough did not come from a government agency. It came from Donald and Betty Harden, a California couple interested in puzzles. They searched for repeated symbols and patterns in the writer's language. Within days, they produced a solution accepted by investigators. The message described the writer's motives and fantasies, but it did not reveal his identity. A final sequence of 18 symbols remained unclear. The promise that the cipher contained his identity had apparently been another manipulation. This was the 408 cipher, not the 340-character message that would resist a verified solution for 51 years. On August 4th, the San Francisco Examiner received another letter. This time, the writer introduced himself with the phrase, "This is the Zodiac speaking." The name was simple, memorable, and accompanied by a crosshair-like symbol that could be reproduced in newspapers and letters. The unknown writer had created an identity without revealing a face. Every message increased public attention. Every headline strengthened the character he had invented. Investigators were now chasing both a person and the image that person wanted the world to see. But they still could not know which statements were truthful and which existed only to create fear. 2 additional attacks were officially connected to the Zodiac case during the following months. One occurred near Lake Berryessa in September 1969. 2 people were attacked. One survived. In October, San Francisco taxi driver Paul Stein was killed in the Presidio Heights neighborhood. A later letter contained evidence strongly connecting its sender to Stein's death. The writer continued communicating with newspapers. He issued threats, sent more symbols, and claimed responsibility for an increasing number of victims. But investigators could confirm only part of what he said. The accepted core case includes 5 deaths during 1968 and 1969. 2 other victims survived officially connected attacks. The writer eventually claimed 37 victims. Those additional claims were never all proven. That distinction is essential. Attaching the Zodiac name to other unsolved crimes expanded his reputation, even when supporting evidence was missing. His letters blended facts, threats, and possible exaggerations. That made every message both a clue and a trap. Investigators had to study the paper, handwriting, symbols, and wording, while remembering that the author was deliberately trying to control what they believed. Different police departments investigated different parts of the case. The attacks crossed jurisdictional boundaries. Evidence was collected by separate agencies. Witness descriptions varied, and the letters introduced thousands of possible interpretations. Over the years, investigators examined numerous suspects. The most publicly discussed was Arthur Lee Allen. Circumstantial details led investigators to examine Allen repeatedly. Searches were conducted. His handwriting was compared with the letters, but Allen denied being the Zodiac. He was never charged, and the publicly known evidence never established that he wrote the letters or committed the crimes. Allen died in 1992. Other suspects were proposed by investigators, journalists, authors, and private researchers. Some theories focused on handwriting. Others relied on military experience, geography, photographs, or interpretations of the ciphers. But every major suspect produced contradictions. Someone might resemble a witness description, yet fail another comparison. Another person might have lived near one location, but lack a reliable connection to the letters. As the decades passed, certainty became harder to achieve. Memories faded. Potential suspects died, and evidence collected during the 1960s faced unavoidable limitations. Independent groups continue announcing possible identities, but no law enforcement agency has publicly confirmed that any proposed suspect was the Zodiac. The case has produced thousands of theories, but no confirmed name. On November 8, 1969, the San Francisco Chronicle received another coded message. It contained 340 characters. For 51 years, the cipher resisted every attempt to produce a verified solution. Professional cryptanalysts studied it. Amateur codebreakers proposed countless answers. Computers tested different patterns. Nothing gained official acceptance. Then, in December 2020, an international team announced a breakthrough. David Orenchak, Sam Blake, and Jarl van Eyck had solved the 340 cipher. The FBI independently verified their decryption. The message was real, but the most important information was missing. It did not reveal the Zodiac's identity. Instead, it continued the pattern found throughout his correspondence: boasting, manipulation, and an attempt to control how the public viewed him. Two shorter Zodiac ciphers remain unresolved. One was introduced with words suggesting it contained his name. The other accompanied a map. Many people have proposed solutions, but short ciphers can produce numerous possible answers, making confident verification extremely difficult. The Zodiac's most famous unsolved code had finally surrendered its message, but not the man behind it. The Zodiac case contains two mysteries. The first concerns the crimes officially connected to him. The second concerns the identity he created through letters, symbols, and codes. 5 people died. 2 survived. Their families were left without complete answers. Meanwhile, an unknown writer transformed himself into one of America's most recognizable, unidentified criminals. His letters created attention. His ciphers created obsession. And his unproven claims may have made him appear more powerful than the evidence supported. In 2020, one of the case's greatest puzzles was finally solved, but the solution provided no name. His most successful manipulation may have been making every message seem as though it might contain the final answer. More than half a century later, theories continue to spread, but no individual has been conclusively proven to be the Zodiac. The symbol remains recognizable. The letters remain preserved. And behind the name he created, there is still no confirmed face. If you have a theory about the Zodiac's identity, share it respectfully in the comments. And subscribe to Chronicle Noir for more mysteries that remain unsolved.